Hello and welcome to Seeka University. In this video, we are going to cover Practice Setup in Practice Optimizer. Let's start by logging in to Practice Optimizer. Click on the gear icon in the upper right corner of your home page. This will open the Settings drop-down menu. Click on the second option, which is Practice Setup. This will open the Practice Setup window. On the left-hand side of the Practice Setup window, you have 7 different sections. These allow you to set up your practice, select your practice type, manage your providers, alter your working schedule, define patients, select what type of payments you receive, and modify your accounts receivable data settings. By default, the first section is Intro. First, select the practice that you would like to set up. Click Next Time I Log In to complete practice setup at a later time, or click Continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we will click Continue. This will take us to the next section, Practice Type. This will help place you in the most relevant national profile for accurate data comparisons, dynamic goal setting, fine-tuned fee optimization, and intuitive recommendations. From the drop-down menu, select which type of practice you have. When finished, click Cancel to cancel practice setup, Back to go back to the previous screen, or Save and Continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we'll click Save and Continue. This will take us to the next section, Providers. This will help refine your list of providers who have performed procedures in your practice recently that affected your production numbers. First, use the drop-down menu to select the date range you'd like to see providers for, or select All to see all of your providers. The system automatically pulls the provider names from your patient management system. You can see the provider's name, what type of providers they are, as well as who they are assigned to. Both the type and assigned to can easily be changed with the corresponding drop-down menus. Using the checkboxes to the left of the provider's name, select which providers you would like to include in your production numbers and reports. When finished, click Cancel to cancel practice setup, Back to go back to the previous screen, or Save and Continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we'll click Save and Continue. This will take us to the fourth section, Working Schedule. From here, we can set the working practice hours by provider. The first option allows us to import your practice working schedule from your practice management system. The second option gives us a Seeka default option by setting the numbers of days and how many working hours per day. The third option is for us to configure the hours manually. By selecting this option, we can modify the practice working hours as well as the provider working hours by day. After you have selected the working hours for your practice, at the bottom you can choose to have the new working schedule reflected in the previous or next 12-month period. When finished, click Cancel to cancel the practice setup, Back to go back to the previous screen, or Save and Continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we'll click Save and Continue. The next section we're presented with is New Patients. From here, we can tell the system what qualifies as a new patient and when a new patient should be considered inactive. At the top, use the drop-down menu to choose how long you would like a patient to be considered new before becoming inactive. Below that, we can then choose when a patient is considered new. Your first choice is when a specific procedure is performed. The next option is for the patient's first visit, and the last option is for when the patient's first procedure is performed. You will need to select one of these options before continuing. After you've made your selection, click Cancel to cancel practice setup, Back to go back to the previous screen, or Save and Continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we'll click Save and Continue. This brings us to over-the-counter or OTC payments. This allows you to tell the system what type of payments to recognize. Select all of the payment options you allow. After you've made your selection, click Cancel to cancel practice setup, back to go back to the previous screen, or save and continue to finish setting up your practice. For this demo, we'll click Save and Continue. The final section is for data settings. From here, we have AR options, which stands for accounts receivable, and also set the number of operatories in the practice. If you would like to exclude patients with certain billing types from your AR calculations, select the first option and then the billing type. Select the second option if you would like to consider a patient's payment plan amounts in your total AR. Then enter the number of operatories in your practice. After you've made your selections, click Cancel to cancel practice setup, back to go back to the previous screen, or Save and Finish to complete setting up your practice. You have now set up your practice. This concludes our session for Practice Setup, Settings in Practice Optimizer.